All right. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I mentioned in the post today that I would include a video of myself doing the reading for, another kit reading. We haven't done one in a long time. I know. I'm sure you're all missing it, but I think it's a good chance for us to make sure that we're still focused on some of those skills and kind of like we don't let that sort of all that work that we've done disappear. And also, it gives me a chance to be able to read through your counter argument and refutation paragraphs and be able to give you some feedback so that tomorrow you can work on improving those too. So it kind of works out like that. But I know that there were some times where I would read to some of you sort of in a separate setting, or sometimes Ms. Elstead and I would read to the entire class. So I thought, since we haven't done one in a while, and I haven't made a video in a little bit, that I would read it with you. So I would recommend following along, and then you can just listen. But I mean, it's sort of up to you how you want to take this in. Mr. Young for this selection did find one that was actually written pretty recently. It's about life at home right now during this whole COVID-19 pandemic, where we're, the safer at home stuff. So it's definitely a current event. It's definitely something I think we can all sort of relate to in one way or another. But anyway, so if you just follow along with me, it's Kit 5, Selection 1. The title is Finding Moments of Calm During a Pandemic by Maggie Nelson. I don't feel much like reading these days. Who does? Who has the time with all the kids at home? Or who can concentrate? Yesterday, my reading consisted of Go Dog Go, a feat achieved while trying to fathom, or simply to bear, the feeling of delighting in phonetic discovery as I sit on a warm couch next to a person I adore, while so much fear, sorrow, uncertainty, and panic surges outside. An outside that looks like nothing but an empty street, if not radiant, with the new calm. The feeling led me to pull Natalia Ginsburg down from the shelf. I felt a sudden need to reread Winter in the Abruzzi, an essay I consider one of the most perfect and devastating ever written. It's only 1.5 pages. I managed to read it while shepherding my son through another utterly chaotic, thoroughly well-intentioned Zoom class for second graders. Ginsburg's essay begins as a descriptive tale of a small Italian town in winter, cavernous kitchens lit by oak fires, prosciutto hanging from the ceilings, women who've lost their teeth by age 30, deepening snow. Then, on the second page, Ginsburg tells us simply, our lot was exile. She doesn't say why, but it's the early 1940s in Italy, so we can imagine. She then tells us about her new life in the village with her young children and her husband, an anti-fascist professor who writes at an oval table in their kitchen. We hear about their routines, their bitterness, their delights, and their trepidation, suspended as they are in a rich and eerie lull. The essay wears an epigraph from Virgil. Deus nobi haec otia fecit. God has granted us this respite. And a respite it turns out to be, as the appalling, crystalline last paragraph of the essay makes clear. My husband died in Regina Coeli prison in Rome a few months after we left the village. When I confront the horror of his solitary death, of the anguished choices that preceded his death, I have to wonder if this really happened to us. We who bought oranges at Giro's and went walking in the snow. I had faith then in a simple, happy future, rich with fulfilled desires, with shared experiences and ventures. But that was the best time of my life, and only now that it's gone forever do I know it. The essay closes with a date, 1944. As the wise wisely instruct us to count our blessings, which I do, I also can't help but wonder how to sustain this sense of gratitude through the undulations of daily domestic life when so many of our home balloons, not only with love and recognition, but also with stress, turbulence, even violence from forces within and without. If this question is rhetorical, it's because I don't want anyone, including myself, to feel that they're doing kinship wrong if and when it hurts. Today, for me, it hurts. It is sweet and it hurts. I think it hurts sometimes for Ginsburg too, and it's not clear to me that it could have been different, even if she knew all that was to come. The murder of Ginsburg's faith in a simple, happy future, rich with fulfilled desires, is cruel. It is also the sound of human lives cresting against material and mortal limits, of flesh grinding into history. Earlier in the essay, she drives the point home. There is a certain dull uniformity in human destiny. The course of our lives follows ancient and immutable laws, with an ancient, changeless rhythm. Dreams never come true, and the instant they are shattered, we realize how the greatest joys of our life lie beyond the realm of reality. I differ from Ginsburg in that I have never been able to look for or find any joys, great or small, beyond the realm of reality, whatever that means. I'm reading her, after all, in translation. Or at least, I haven't yet. But her sense of ancient and immutable laws seems to me spot on, and in certain circumstances, a great relief. I don't mean to imply that there aren't 10,000 reasons that we shouldn't be where we are today, or that no one is responsible for the suffering at hand and to come. People are responsible, and we know their names. People were also responsible for the murder of Ginsburg's husband, who went from writing at that oval table surrounded by his children's toys to dying of cardiac arrest and acute cholecystitis in prison, the latter being a gallbladder infection likely brought on by torture. I only mean to say that for those steeped in the belief that great calamity should not, cannot be our lot, or that if we work hard enough or try hard enough, or hope hard enough, or are good or inventive enough, we might be able to outfox it. It can be a relief to admit our folly and rejoin the species, which is defined, as are all forms of life, by a terrible and precious precarity to which some bodies need no reintroduction. I think I reached for Winto in the Abruzzi because I needed this reminder. I needed its stern and tender fellowship, which it delivered to me today across 76 years and 6,331 miles, much farther than 6 feet away. That the essay brought me to tears was not new, but this time, rather than weep for Ginsburg alone, I wept for us all, as we, too, bought oranges at Giro's and went walking in the snow. So that's the selection that Mr. Young found for us. There are 3 questions to follow, like always. The questions are included in the document, but I want you to answer them in the Google form that's also included in this post, because that will make it easier for me to kind of go through. And then as I look through your responses, I will just post like a private comment to each one of you what your score was. So I say 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3, whatever it is. And then I might do a separate video with the answers that I'll post. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow when you're making the revisions on your counter argument paragraphs. But so that will be the plan kind of going forward here. And then next week, we're going to start To Kill a Mockingbird. So make sure you have those copies, dig them out. I had you check them out. One of the last days that we were actually in school. So you're going to need to find those. And we're going to be kind of doing, obviously everything is different right now, but we'll be covering a little bit differently, where we will be reading certain chapters, but then other chapters will be doing sort of summaries. I might do a video like this where I read one, and if you want to read it on your own, you can. If you want to listen to me read it, that's up to you as well. So we'll just take a couple different opportunities like that. All right. Otherwise, as always, take care, and I will talk to you shortly.